Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Build Your Copywriting Business podcast. Hey there, Kate.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So, we have decided on a topic for today that we're actually both surprisingly excited about.
We
You would
should
think,
be embarrassed, but yeah.
you would think it would be something that we wouldn't want to talk about. But today, we are going to talk about the biggest mistakes that we have made in our copywriting careers, in our copywriting businesses. And I think part of why I'm so excited to talk about it is it was such a useful moment for me and such a light bulb for me that it's very valuable to share with the rest of our community. So I'm really excited to dig into that story. Okay, did you say you have two that you want to share today?
I have no mistakes, Nikki. I don't know what you're
That's
talking about. I haven't
right.
made this is all about you and your career's mistakes.
I'm sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. Pardon me.
I don't know why I'm
Another
here.
mistake.
I'm just here to watch. No, yes, I have two that I want to share. Neither of them feel dramatic, but yes. Do we want to start with one of them?
Yeah, I was gonna say let's go back and forth.
Okay. So I'll start with what I think might be the bigger, well, I don't know. They're different. They're in different categories. But the first one, and I should know, and I think yours too, they were earlier on in our careers. We learned, which was really nice. So take that for what it's worth. If you're feeling like you're making mistakes, you'll get through it. You'll learn and it'll get easier and you'll make less and less, hopefully. So, this was actually one of my first freelance clients. They ran an agency and they were looking to bring on some more writers. And this was actually going to be what I hoped was my first freelance client ever. I was working on staff at the time, and Nikki actually had recommended, you should do some freelance. And that's always a good skill to have, which, yes, it's a great skill to have. And so I set my alarms the night before the call. It was a call on a Saturday. And I woke up Saturday morning, going about, and just had that moment of stomach sinking. Oh, there are missed calls on my phone. Oh my gosh, what time is it? Oh my gosh, I've missed this meeting with this client. And it was supposed to be in person. I think we were going to meet up for coffee and just chat about what I had done, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, is the type of person who, would have a panic attack if I like left my high school homework at home. This was that moment of, oh my gosh, I'm never there that goes. And so I calmed down, took some breaths, immediately picked up the phone, and as I'm like trying to get dressed just in case they still wanted to meet, and I said, I am so sorry. I set my alarm, and this was true. What can you do but tell the truth? I set my alarm for 7 p.m. instead of 7 a.m. My phone is now on, the 24-hour time. So we don't have those types of screw ups anymore. It's just easier, less confusion for everyone, including myself. And so I said, if there's any chance, I would love to still meet up with you again. But I completely understand. I don't want to, waste your time. And I don't remember exactly how that conversation, kind of went. I think it was pretty short because the person, rightly so, was peeved. She had shown up, and this person who she's giving a chance, who she doesn't know yet, I think you had actually really introduced us. So then it's not even, making you look bad too, stamp of approval on someone who doesn't show. But we rescheduled for a later time is I think what the outcome was. And thank goodness. So not only is there added pressure on your first freelance project, but for me, that was okay. Now I am doubly pressured because this first project that they give me, and it was a small project, and I want to reiterate, it was a small project to everyone because sometimes some of your best clients might not want to give you the biggest project right away. They want you to prove that you can do what it is that you say you can do, or that you just have a good working relationship and you're someone they want to work with. And so this was a small project, but I was like, I need to knock this out of the park. This needs to be your best copy ever, Kate. And so I forget what the project was. I want to say it was actually copy for a shoe box for a box of shoes.
Hmm.
And I came up with so many options. I can't tell you how many options because I was like this, digging, like need to do the best thing ever. And presented, I think, probably my top 3 to 5 maybe narrowed it down, really curated it. And she came back and was like, this work was actually better than some of our writers that have been doing it for a lot longer. Like, we'd love to continue working with you. And straight up said to me, like, I was really unsure after that I should give you a second chance. I'm glad I did. But, she basically let me know, like, that wasn't okay, which I already knew, obviously, but it was reiterating, hey, this relationship almost didn't happen. And so then, of course, every project after that, it was still a lot. And not that I don't feel necessarily that same pressure anymore, but it was like, okay, I need to continue to prove myself even more than I have to prove myself with a regular client, because I already set myself up 5-10 steps back in this relationship. But this relationship now, over the course of, we've been working together on and off for over a decade. So it's been hundreds of thousands of dollars for me and my business. So if that screw up, could have cost me, luckily it didn't, but it could have cost me so much money over the course of my career. And I want to reiterate too, the small project that they had me start on, like, it wasn't a lot of copy, but it translated to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you're, looking for those big ticket clients, and some client doesn't want to work with you right away on a $5,000 project, know that it might be because they're more than willing. Maybe they have the budget, they want to work with you, but they want to see how your relationship is on a $500 project first versus a 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever it might be.
Mhm.
There's that opportunity over the course of your career, thinking long term, this relationship could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mhm. Yeah. Such a good story. So, what
No.
would you say the takeaways are besides double checking your alarms, maybe setting a couple of
Setting a
alarms?
couple, I do that now, honestly, even for just meetings, any meeting with any sort of client, because I want to respect people's time. I want my time respected. And I think we all feel that way. If a client doesn't show up for us, we feel like, hey, what the heck? Like, don't you value my time? And so, yeah, I set alarms 10 minutes before, and then usually like 2 minutes before, 1 or 2 minutes before. Just again, that wrap up time, if I need to go up, refill the coffee, whatever. And then again, right when I need to sign on, I don't trust the email servers and whatever pings and dings, and I turn those off, actually, just so they're not interrupting me. So I control it via my alarms, and I do it every end of day at 5:15. I have a note on my calendar to set my alarms for the next day, so that they're all ready to go before I leave the office, and I'm not doing it first thing in the morning and then missing a 9 a.m. meeting or whatever it might be. But yeah, that's the biggest take. Setting those alarms, checking those alarms, use that 24-hour time.
Well, and I think too the fact that you got in touch, obviously, when you realized your mistake, and you were you didn't try to lie, you didn't try to make up an excuse, you just very
Mhm.
genuinely said, "I'm so sorry, this is what happened." When I think too that, she would have been very much in her rights to say, no, no,
Yeah.
thank you, no. I love you so much, and I'm not sure if you were a stranger to me if I would have given you a second chance.
Right, right.
Which
Because you don't
obviously,
know. You don't know.
yes,
Well,
yes,
it's yeah.
which
I have
obviously,
no reputation with you if I'm a
yeah,
stranger. So yeah, of
yeah.
course I would probably do the same if, like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and would obviously have been such a loss for me. But I will say that if she had said no, I think that some people may be tempted to go, "Oh, well, I lost out." Whereas I think then there's also the opportunity to say, "Look, I'm really sorry. How can I prove myself? How can I make this up to you? I realize that I wasted your time on a Saturday morning. What can I do to make this up to you?"
Mhm.
If it's something that you really do care about, it's always worth asking that question. How can I make this right?
Yep. Or even kind of thinking of it like a pitch, like, hey, I'm so sorry I missed this. Hey, I was taking a look at your website. I have this idea for one of your clients, or I have this idea for your business, or whatever it is, to come already with some value and to show that you're already still thinking, that you care. And I
Mhm.
think pitches in general and showing that value shows that we care, that we've invested a little bit of time to understand the business. And I think in this situation, that would have been a good thing to do as well. And, I was
Mhm.
so green in my career. I came to the coffee just very apologetic still. I didn't necessarily come with those ideas, but looking back, that's something I would definitely do.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. Live and learn,
Yes.
and set
Yes.
those alarms. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. my turn. So
Yes.
this one, again, also early in my career, I learned, but this was, gosh, I would say probably 12, 13 years ago, maybe. This was also a freelance client. She's a business owner, but she's like a multi 7-figure business owner. Very cool team, does very cool work. And the funny thing is actually she got in touch with me, I think through my website, and said,
Hmm.
"Oh, so and so referred me." And I remember looking at that. Still to this day, I have no idea who that person was. No idea. I was like, "Oh, that was so great. That was so nice of her to refer." No
Thank you to
idea who it
so and
was.
so, whoever that
Yes,
might be.
to this
Thank
stranger
you for
out in the ether
referring.
who's throwing my name around. Appreciate it. But it was really fun work. It was website work. It was email funnels. It was, I think I did like a little bit of ghostwriting for a submission for something in a book. It was really fun stuff. And I liked it. She liked my work. I liked working with them, and it was fun. Um, but where the trouble comes in is that I got really used to just like sitting there and waiting for the work to come to me. She'd shoot me an email when she needed something. I would do the work. She'd love it. Okay, I'd go on to my next thing. And that was how it went for quite a while until I kind of noticed that the work started to drop off. And then it just kind of eventually disappeared. And by the time that I became fully cognizant of it, I kind of went, oh, all right, well, I guess maybe she doesn't need me. She doesn't need any projects, and just kind of went on my way. And actually, maybe this is longer than 12 years ago because this is a very green thing to do. But just kind of went on my way and just didn't say anything to her, didn't reach out, didn't none of that kind of stuff. Um, and so years later, I actually ended up working with her again. I forget how we got reconnected, but then I did some work for her. And then, now that we're both business owners, we're peers, and we run in some of the same circles. And she's a really like smart, fantastic woman. And we were having a conversation one day, and she said, I'm a little hesitant to tell you this, but as a fellow entrepreneur, I would hope that someone would give me this information as well. And so I'm kind of going, all right, preparing myself. She said, the reason that I stopped working with you years ago, which of course immediately I'm going, oh my God, she's gonna tell me that, but oh my God, what terrible thing did I do? But what she said was, you were doing great work. I really, really liked the work you were doing. But we were approached by the company. I was approached by another copywriter who had this whole package of suggestions for things that I could do. She suggested this for a launch, and she suggested this for an email funnel, and like the revamping the sales page and doing this, and this whole package of work. And she said it was not cheap. It was like a $7,000 or $8,000 package of work. And she said, I assumed that if you were capable of doing that you would have pitched me on that same stuff. And it was an absolute like eye opener. Like, of course I was capable of doing that kind of stuff. Of course I was. But the trap that I fell into was being a producer, not a partner. Was
Mhm.
just sitting there and waiting for her to give me work. And that's only one part of what we do. It was also my job just as much to be a partner and to look at the stuff that she's doing and make suggestions and offer ideas and all that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of times we think, oh, we're only going to offer other projects or make suggestions or offer ideas when it could be more work for us. And yes, obviously this would have represented more work for me, but also just being present like that and being active and engaged was what I should have been doing. Also, the
Mhm.
fact that I just let her go as the work disappeared. I didn't even reach out to say, hey, just wanted to check in and see how everything's going. Now, frankly, at that point, it probably would have been too late anyway. She probably would have said, oh, we've hired another copywriter to do all this kind of work. I guess I would have learned that lesson faster. But it was a major, major misstep for me, and a big learning opportunity, because not only did I miss out on that client, but here's the thing. So she is also like I said, a business owner, but also a business coach. So she coaches other business owners. Those other business owners also need copy. And previously, she would refer me to her clients. So not only did I miss out on, I'm sure it would not have been just 7,000. 7,000 was just that project. Probably over the years, tens of thousands of dollars, if not more. on top of the fact that I missed out on her referring me to her clients, which easily if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years, because I was not the partner that I should have been. I was a great copywriter. She loved my copy. That wasn't the problem. I wasn't stepping up and being a partner to her the way that I should have been. So it was, like I said, it was early in my career, so I give myself a little bit of grace for that. But looking back, even then, I knew better. I knew to be a partner, and that was a hard and expensive lesson to learn, but it was a really, really good one. And that was one of the reasons I'm so excited to share this with you guys, because you don't have to go through that. You can hear that story and learn from it and put yourself in my shoes and know that you don't have to drop the ball the way that I did. Always aim to be both, to produce great copy, but also be a partner to your clients, each and every one of them. And if you have trouble remembering to check in or remembering to send through new ideas, put it on your calendar. Make
Yeah.
it part of your to-do list, make it part of your schedule. It does not have to be spontaneous. If you have an idea, then jot it down someplace, or put it in send an email to yourself, so that when it's time that week to go in and send that email, you've got, or send your ideas through to your client, go back to your list of stuff and go, yes. Doesn't have to be in that moment, doesn't have to be spontaneous. The important thing is that you're sharing that and you're being of value to your clients.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a $7,000 or $8,000 package, right? Like it can just be ideas as they come to you. Obviously you can't execute on $7,000 worth of work right at one time. You're going to, if you're doing an email series and a
Mhm.
web page and a whatever, you're probably doing, different pieces at different times. So yeah, you could pitch, hey, I have some ideas for updates to your welcome series, or I have
Mhm.
updates or ideas for a new funnel that I think we should build and try and test or whatever.
Mhm.
And you don't have to throw the whole kitchen sink all at once. And I think half the time it's showing that you're thinking about the business, even if they don't go
Yeah.
with your idea that you send. They know, okay, this person's still
Mhm.
actively engaged with what we're doing. They are
Yeah.
more of a team member. We see them as a team member versus a freelancer or a contractor.
Exactly. Exactly. Or even if you do want to pitch a $7,000 or $8,000 project, you have the inside advantage because you know their
Yeah.
business. You can say, "Look, this is what I think we could do, and I think this would be amazing. But I know what your schedule looks like. I know what you're working on. So
Yeah.
here's my recommendation of how we could tackle all of this kind of stuff."
Yeah.
You have the advantage, so don't lose that advantage the way that I did.
And they already know we like you and work with
Yes.
you and they trust you.
Yes.
And yeah, it's repitching.
Yes. Okay, Kate, what's your
Yeah,
second
my
one?
other one. And so this is less of a copywriting, but more copy editing, but still a mistake that I will share. I was working at a company, and my role was actually when I was in a copy editor role. They had the fortune of having a copy editor. I will say, so many companies don't necessarily run their copy through an editor, for better or for worse. So
Mhm.
as copy writers, not our job. Again, we are not copy editors, but we do want to proof our own work. We want to read through it. And had I done that, I would have caught this. So that's where this comes in, because you don't have to be a copy editor. And I would strongly also recommend not necessarily relying on all the software and apps that there are. Grammarly can only get you so far. You need to read it through, read it out loud, read it out loud. I'm going to say that again, because you will catch things that your brain is automatically filling in when you're reading it and just assuming that it's there. This is also where building in time to sleep on work helps, because proofing and reading through something right after you've written it
I'm laughing
isn't,
because you haven't told us the story yet.
I know, I'm prefacing it, I'm avoiding.
I love these takeaways. They're so useful.
The takeaways are more important than the story. um, but yes. So anyway, I misspelled the name of a major cruise line is what I did. And luckily it was an online thing, so we could make the switch and it was up. But that cruise line, someone from that cruise line saw this.
Well, and it was a paid advertorial too, wasn't it? They were
It
paying
must have
for it.
been. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, they were very upset, obviously. Like, we didn't get the name of their cruise line spelled right.
Yes. When a client is spending
Thousands.
thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, they do expect you to get their name right in the
Yes.
publication.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, so that goes though, this has happened to me so many times where if you're quoting someone and you're using a pull quote and you're like recommending we have a quote here from someone or a testimonial and this and that, and you're putting it in your copy doc, I've my last name isn't necessarily intuitive and Nikki's name isn't intuitive. So there's a lot of names that I've worked with over my career that I'll check it twice. Just did I spell this? Go to their email or whatever the most, that that it's spelled right on, and make sure that it's spelled everywhere, that you're listing it correctly. And then when you're reading through a document, just kind of fact checking yourself as well to say, is this accurate? Is this based on my knowledge of the company? Is this all correct? Is there something I need to follow up with someone on to make sure that it is accurate information? Do I need to hop on a call with one of their subject matter experts to make sure I got the nuances of this right? Because as copywriters, we're not expected to know the ins and outs of everything in the business, but we
Mhm.
are expected when we're writing it. Okay, we're leading with the benefits. We need this information. Then to go to the people that we need to, hey, is this accurate? I kind of want to spin it like this because I think that would be the most compelling and the most, get your audience to take action. But I want to make sure that this is actually
Mhm.
factually correct.
Yeah.
So making sure you're doing your due diligence and, yeah, again, not relying on the apps, reading it through, read it out
Yeah.
loud.
Well, and I have not misspelled a client's name, but there definitely plenty of times early in my career where I'll finish something, send it through, and then a client will come back to me and be like, did you mean for this last line to just? It
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like maybe this last line
Yeah.
just cuts off in the middle or something like that." And then of course you go, "Oh,"
Ooh, yep.
and you go, "Oh yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." Da 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 da. Da." And then I either I go back and find the line that got cut off, or probably more likely at that point in my career, I hadn't finished writing it, but didn't double check it, and then I had to go, oh, here it is, quickly write something to finish it up. And what it was is that I was just so focused on getting it done and getting out.
Yep.
I wanted to get it done, get it to the client, cross it off my list, and get on to the next thing. And obviously, I was doing a major disservice to my client by trying to get it just off my plate that quickly,
Yep.
and also to my own career. Thankfully, it didn't happen that often that people would have been like, "What's wrong with this girl?" But instead of what my clients deserve, what all of our clients deserve, is for us to do the work, take a moment or some time if you've got it,
Yep.
and then come back and review it and make sure that it is the best work. And that's whether it's a client that you've worked, this is the first time you've worked with them, or whether you've worked with them a billion times. And I have a feeling, in fact, I'm remembering it pretty confidently, that it was a client that I worked for regularly. And I was just
Yep.
so used to doing the work, sending it out, doing the work, sending it out. And I never should have let that step of checking it again go. That's not. There are some steps that I think the more comfortable copywriters get with doing the work, there's some steps that they just kind of let slide.
Yep. We get a little
Like
cocky. We get a little like, oh yeah,
exactly,
this is
like
too easy
copywriters
for me now. Yeah.
stop outlining.
Yep. Stop
Oh,
concepting.
stop concepting. You always need to outline. You
Right.
always need to concept. Sometimes I will even hear the egregious, "Oh, I didn't really make a creative brief." Oh my gosh, you need to have a creative brief.
Yep.
That's all of this stuff is important, but and then also too that step of following up, double not even following up, but double checking your own work before you send it
Yep.
through to the client.
Yep.
Yes.
And not relying on robots to do it.
Yes. Yes. Yes,
It's
exactly.
just we're not there yet. But
Mm-mm,
yeah. I
mm-mm.
think the process thing, what helps me and maybe it will help someone else, is because I like crossing things off the to-do list, because I feel like I just birthed this copy. It took me 5 hours or whatever it is, and it is done, but it's not. So to have a step of, writing, continue writing, and I check that off every day. Okay, now I'm at the phase of, complete draft. Great. The next day, the task that I have for myself is review, read through again, and spending and quoting for that in my project time and accounting for that time I know it's going to take. And I add a little more time in that because sometimes when I review, it ends up not just being, self-editing as a copywriter is more about self-editing the ideas and concepts and making sure you have the strongest work possible. And so sometimes in that review phase, it'll be more, this line that's actually starting this paragraph would make a stronger subheadline, and the subheadline could actually go here, and kind of moving things around, or, here's a stronger word that I can insert in this space, or whatever it might be. But that's still accounting for that time. If I start moving things around like that, then it's okay. I'm going to come back to this and read it again for more is it missing anything? Is it missing any lines? Because I've done that same thing, sent through, and they're like, yeah, where's this part? And same thing. I'm like, I think it might be in another document. Let me go, copy and paste. Like, which version did I leave it in? All of that. But yeah, reading it, accounting for time to read it back through. And so breaking out those steps so you can check things off your to-do list, because you are doing work. And so bundling it all is like, create this one thing and you check it off, but it's not actually all done. That's just ineffective for you, and it's ineffective for your clients. It's not actually all done. So if you like checking things off, and you deserve to check things off as you're doing work, then break it out smaller so you can check off what you're actually doing and not check off steps that you haven't completed, like reading it back through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think even beyond this, a bigger lesson is to, first of all, obviously, maybe not obviously, but remember that we are business owners. We are running a business. This is not, we're not doing favors to anyone. We're not asking for favors from anyone. Everything that we do should be our best foot forward. And as part of being a business owner, doing regular reviews of the business is really important, and not just, these are my goals, this is how I'm getting him, I'm making this much toward this goal of that. Also taking the time to go back and review how the business is running. After a project ends, okay, what went well with that project? What didn't go so well? What should I improve next time? Okay, I've been working with this client now for 6 months. What's going well? What isn't going well? Are there ways that I could be a better partner? Regularly reviewing this. And all of these things that Kate and I are talking about, if we had taken the time, again, a little bit of grace, we were a little bit of baby copywriters, but if we'd taken the time to treat our businesses like businesses and treat our work like the valuable output it is, we would have done these reviews. We would have looked at our processes. We would have said, all right, where do I slip up sometimes? Or where is okay, and what can I do to build in some fail safes? Or what can I do to be a better copywriter, be a better partner, develop myself as a professional and as a business? All of that would have saved us, what's our tally? Something like $500,000, something
Right.
between the two of us. Yes, it's an expensive lesson. So let us take that lesson on for you, or let us take the expense, and you guys learn this lesson before you have to experience it yourself. Yes. Okay. So that's what we have for you today. I know you're all shocked to discover that Kate and I are not, in fact, perfect. We are actually deeply, deeply imperfect.
Deeply flawed.
Deeply flawed individuals,
Yeah.
but we're delightful. But we were excited to share these with you, because there is so much that you can take away, and we really hope that you take some lessons from our missteps. And so with that, we will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody. Like what you heard? Hit subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're ready to take the first step toward becoming a copywriter yourself, sign up for a free video training right here.